Creole people, until as of recent, because it's a huge benefit now, didn't even identify as Black.
Oh.
They only just now started identifying as Black because, you know, it's sexy, you know, it's exotic. No, it's real, because some of them are really, really light that they can actually pass for white. So now it's a big thing. You get money from the EU, this is the thing. Why do we need European approval to be who we are? That is the internalized racism, is that we are arguing about what somebody else said we should be doing with each other.
Amazing. Welcome back and live into my name.
Back.
And as you can see here, we have a face that is kind of familiar to everyone.
Kind of familiar.
You've been a diva of the social media lately.
Is that what we're calling it now?
Well, that's what we're calling it. Well, and in the studio today, again, we're having Nehanda. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah. Thank you for having me back after all of that.
After all of that happened. Well, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, Nehanda here, we had on the podcast, and she talked about, we had a topic, raising mixed kids in Germany. And boy, oh boy, that topic was one of a kind. And if you haven't watched it, if you haven't watched a video, I would recommend you to first watch a video before watching this in the first place, because then it will help you to fill in a bit and get on track on what we're talking about. And again, guys, thanks. We realize we hit a certain number on TikTok now. We hit really 10K. So it's been moving speedy. So you guys are really catching up pretty quick. So the TikTok community, Instagram, hopefully very soon now. We do your thing. Do what you normally do. But back on the topic, Nehanda, it's very lovely to have you. How are you doing? I'm
doing great, considering everything, you know.
Hope social media didn't take you apart.
Well, you know, I'm a little bit of a veteran. I have my YouTube channel and an Instagram, and so I'm kind of used to it at this point, you know, that not everybody's going to see eye to eye. And there are a lot of people out there with a lot of personal issues that, you know, they're commentary warriors out there that, you know,
keyboard warriors.
And so I guess it comes with the territory. And I wasn't Black just that time. I've been Black my whole life. So I know that some people might not agree with some of the things that I say, especially when it comes to race and, you know, racism topics.
It's a topic that's not talked about a lot in the community.
Hair politics or racism?
Hair politics, absolutely.
Yeah, it is. But it's something that has been so big. It was actually one of the things that I suggested when I came, you know, when I offered myself up for this conversation, was hair politics, because it is so political.
Absolutely.
And now we can see why.
Now we can see why. Now it's coming out.
Because, well, I mean, this is part of the reason why we're at a standstill as a people, right? Is we have, and I get it and I understand it. Like, we have certain pacifists in our different cultures that want us to be more assimilating to European culture, and this is part of the trying to litigate some of the stereotypes. And a part of me wants to say that there is no compromising with racism. Like, it is what it is. People are not going to like you because of the way you look, and you got to make a decision as an individual and as a community what fights you want to participate in and why. So at this stage and age, would not work at a place that is going to make my hair be an issue, right? Outside of gastronomy. So if I'm working at a food place and they say, please cover your hair with a net or something, I'm going to do that because that's hygienic. But there are certain people, Black African people, who think that dreadlocks are nasty, right? Specifically, I mean, I haven't met every Nigerian in the world. Let me just caveat that. But I do know from my personal experience with the Nigerians that I have met that there are two kinds. You have to be extremely proper. You know, you can't have an accent. You have to carry yourself a certain kind of way. And there's a lot of hierarchy. And
our producer is Nigerian.
Oh, no. Then he can co-sign or kick me out. Well, my cousin-in-law, my cousin is married to a Nigerian, and he said that those were not my words. Why didn't you tell me that before? You did that on purpose.
I wanted you to speak out your mind.
You want to set me up. That's what you want to do. And I had a personal experience with another woman who I worked with at a company who I don't know what we were talking about, but she looked me dead in my face. She might have been 10 years younger than me at the time. Well, she still is, but at the time she was in her 20s. I was in my 30s. Now you all know how old I am. And she looked me dead in my face and told me that we sold you.
Wow.
She said that into my face. And that was my response. Wow. And now I know what the problem is.
Right.
We want to talk about the white man, this and the white man. Nah. If that's true, which, to be fair, it kind of is. Meaning that Africans did sell Africans. Y'all didn't sell me. We left. Let's just be clear about that. The Garifuna people left because we knew what was going on at the time, right? And I think we talked about this last podcast, is that there was a lot of civil unrest and the tribes were buying up other tribes, and this was an issue that they had. So she wasn't wrong, but that's the hierarchical historical narrative that's being taught.
Right.
And so when you have, to answer your question, when you have that mentality, then it is no wonder that Africans just can't be Africans around other Africans. I've experienced it myself, having been living in different places. The most discrimination I got in the South for wearing my hair natural at a time that it was quite unusual was from other African American people. I'm not African American, but from other Black people. The names I was called in the South, I mean, oh my goodness, they would make your skin crawl. It was terrible. And so,
You're a teacher.
Yes.
Besides being a mom, the most beautiful thing. And you being a teacher, you know pretty well about history. And I would say you're very outspoken, and at least the interactions that I've had with you, at least I've
maybe
seen
too outspoken.
Your knowledge about history is really amazing. And I want to use a bit of that to maybe help us here.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because this is an ideology that was sold to us years back, that there is a certain appearance that you must have in order for someone to perceive you the right way, in order for you to handle someone or someone to be satisfied with your services. Put it right.
Mm-hmm.
So this doctor that I'm referencing to is a good doctor. He studied, he did his medicine. And one of the comments was, I won't be treated by someone like you, judging from the appearance and dreadlocks and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that Africans are still not accepting their culture and accepting this, that hair is part of us, and whichever way we choose to wear it does not demean us, does not put us under someone else, or does not make us less intelligent, to put it right? Why do you think they're still struggling to accept this and accept certain hairstyles?
Well, I think that it is quite simply and very, very simply put, internalized racism, right? We know that that's a thing in most cultures, in most Black and brown cultures, is that we have adopted a certain way of being based on our interaction with European cultures. And we have kept that standard, even though a lot of us have moved on. And so, and a part of it also is that for those people who don't live in Europe, and for those who live in Europe, but for those of us who don't live in Europe and have just started to interact with Europeans, or so let's divide it up into two. You have people back home, right? Let's say they're in the dark continent, in the motherland, or they're just what we say in the Caribbean, they live dayad, right? They live at the yard. They don't have a lot of interaction with Europeans outside of tourism. So there is a sense of exoticness, and it's dual. We are exotic living here in Germany because we're not the majority. And so there's a lot of curiosity around things that are different from us. Another part of that, living at home and only seeing very few white people, is what's being perceived in media. This is why, not Bollywood. What is it? What is the Nigerian one called?
Nollywood.
Nollywood. Yeah, it's been around now for a couple of decades. It's a big thing, and before that, it was just white TV. It was whatever you saw from America. And that was such a huge, huge opportunity worldwide for Black people to see themselves in the media. Because before that, you didn't really have that. I mean, I watched Nollywood in the Caribbean, right? Some of the stories were a little bit, but you got to see yourself as an example outside of the Huxtables and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. There was a certain level of relatability, and that's an opportunity for us to really capitalize on who we are as a people. Now, I haven't watched many movies as of recent, but it still exists today, and that's still a platform that we can utilize to create space to speak to Black beauty.
All right.
Because it is a thing. And I feel partially that there is a missed opportunity there, right? We don't need to depend on other people to tell our stories anymore. We can do it. And we can do it by utilizing those of us internationally to really be able to talk about the Black experience. Right. It's so important for us to take charge of this narrative, because when other people tell your story, there is so much lost and so many lies. And that's why we don't like our hair. That's why we perceive ourselves in a certain way. That is why we don't like who we are. And I can't speak too much on it on a more deeper level, because people are actively being deplatformed for discussing this. It's really, really ugly, especially what's going on in Hollywood right now. I mean, it's not just now been happening. It's been happening, to my knowledge, for the past 30 years, to my knowledge, but I believe longer than that. If you look at movies where Black people in Hollywood, the movies where Black people were perceived, look at the roles of us.
Lupita Nyong'o mentioned that, actually, one of my best actresses as well.
She is a very talented person. I wish that she would not have done the last role that she's in, but because we have African queens. We have Nehanda Nyanza. We have... Help me out here.
Help you out. It's one of my best, I think. I don't know a lot, unfortunately, but...
yeah. We have African stories that we can tell.
We do. I mean, and also men as well. I mean, I see also a lot of men. But Lupita Nyong'o is one of my... She's the best. She's at the top. She's at the top because I resonate with everything she puts out there. Most of the things. A lot.
Most of it or all of it?
Not all of it. Most of it.
Okay.
And she was on a certain interview, and she mentioned that... models, for example, in all these fancy industries that we see, at some point forced to cut their hair because they have to match a certain look.
Okay.
Do you think anyone should cut their hair so as to match a certain image?
That is a very, very challenging one.
This is occupation.
Yeah,
this is what is expected from them.
I once went into a beauty pageant a long time ago. I'm not that beautiful anymore. I'm not fishing for compliments. I kind of am, but yeah. But when I went for this beauty pageant, my hair was past my shoulders and it was natural. And my Black hairstylist refused to do my hair. She said, you have to perm your hair, not press or silk press, perm, because I can't be doing your hair the whole time. And it was the hardest decision I've ever made in my life, because I had my hair natural for such a long time. I was so proud of my afro. I wasn't an afro anymore because it was too long, but I really wanted to keep my hair that way to platform being natural. Making the decision to go relaxed made me extremely sad, but I think that I just wasn't ready. Looking back, I would have made a different decision. And I think that we have to have stronger principles, and that is part of the issue with hair. We don't understand that these things go beyond us, the individual. We are ambassadors. Now, coming to the point of living in Europe, unfortunately, because it's a heavy thing to carry. Unfortunately, we have a lot to carry because we are not just representing ourselves, we are representing our people. How we show up in the world, how other people look at us is very, very important about what people think about the Black African experience. And a young boy commented, I didn't realize that he had seen it. He saw that clip on Instagram and he was like, oh my gosh, I remember Mrs. Helmker. She told me that one time because I made some silly comment. He's double heritage. And I just called him one side. He was just in park. I did an auntie talking to Black random children on the street because he was acting up and acting a fool. And I was like, come here. And I told him just what I just said. And that stuck with him. He still remembers that to this day. And he's like, wow, that changed my life and that changed everything. So thank you so much. And, you think that you're just an anonymous person living in Europe. You're not. You are a platform for your people. And yeah.
Annalise Keating, also one of the greatest actresses in Hollywood as well.
I don't know her.
I don't know if the movie How to Get Away with Murder. That is also one of the best actresses. She mentioned that the conquerors, actually, no, that's not a phrase from Makeba. No, but when we were colonized, our history was erased, rewritten, and then told to us again. So, and it's up to us to differentiate between the truths that we want to, or the whole truth about it, because every story has two sides. So there is the truth and there is the other side as well. So it is up to us to differentiate what side are we taking. Do you agree with this?
In a way, yes. Yeah, I would have to say I agree that it's up to us, because what we are being told is being told from the perspective of the winner. The winner writes the history that shows them in the best light.
Miriam Makeba said that as well.
Yeah. And we also have to be very careful that I was watching a commentary video about Lupita visiting the actual place where the Wakanda community was from, and she found out that they actually owned slaves. And she was devastated. Like, she was crying and stuff like that. So that's an ugly part of our history that we will have to come to terms with, that there was civil unrest, and nobody is without blame or totally 100% exalted. And I think that in African American history, I don't know much about African countries outside of South Africa and Nigeria and Kenya a little bit, how it is with people's topic of reconnecting with history and all its parts. But for those countries that I just mentioned, it's hard to say, yeah, we did some really bad things as well.
Absolutely. I mean, for countries like Nigeria, the school curriculum and so on was erased. And just to begin, also Uganda, let's speak of Uganda, that was colonized by the British. And the entire school system is also based on a white man's, I don't know.
Did you hear about what happened with Uganda? Why that was it? No, it was Rwanda. Sorry. Rwanda, why that civil unrest took place the way it took place?
Genocide that took place.
Did you know what was behind that?
Not entirely. I know the whole, like, how everything came into place, but if you could give us a bit of more highlight into that would be amazing.
I mean, as far as I understood,
history lesson now.
Well, here we go. As far as I understood, and this is going to be my answer to the other point. The Belgians came in, and they were instated for a period of time, and then somebody else came in. I think it's either the British or the French came in, and then they were instated in the at a period of time. And each one of them took a different tribe and said, "You're in charge." And then the other one said, "No, you're in charge." And then when everybody left, when the colonializers left, that they were trying to argue which master was correct.
Right. Oh.
This is the level of internalized racism that I'm talking about.
Right.
Like, what are we talking about? Why does somebody else have to tell you who's in charge? And it happens everywhere. It happens in Central America. It happened with my people too. You know, in Belize, we have two African tribes. We have the Creole and the Garifuna. And the Garifuna were considered the native bush people, right? We're considered lesser than. But Garifuna people are all teachers, all educators. When the British left, they put the Garifuna in charge of educating the nation. And the Creole got all the land because they were slaves. So a lot of Scottish, British, German, Irish married these slave women and gave the women and the children. Some of them didn't leave, you know, because in Belize there's somebody, back home there's nobody, and they just sort of mixed with them and created their own African group. So much so that Creole people, a lot of them here, they're going to come for me. I am crucified. Creole people, until as of recent, because it's a huge benefit now, didn't even identify as Black.
Oh.
They only just now started identifying as Black because, you know, it's sexy, you know, it's exotic. No, it's real, because some of them are really, really light that they can actually pass for white. So now it's a big thing. You get money from the EU. This is the thing. Why do we need European approval to be who we are? That is the internalized racism, is that we are arguing about what somebody else said we should be doing with each other.
So Nigeria, prior to 2009, 2010, history was a subject as well, like chemistry, biology, and so on. And it was made optional. So you must have taken, or you should have taken the subject and so on. Now it has been entirely removed.
Wow.
Erasing our own history again.
Wow.
First of all, we make it optional. And then I could give also reference to that. The same applies to Uganda. They made it optional. Made it still exists. It exists. We haven't removed it yet. But Nigeria. So this is us now erasing our history to match which standards? I don't know.
I don't think it is a standard. I think it is deliberately done with nefarious intent. Right?
What could the intent be?
You go, let me put on my Malcolm X hat. I mean, the intent is, we already have enough problems with education as it is. People are being, in my opinion, dumbed down. But I think that this is just a step further to, let me just use a phrase and say that if you don't know your history, you don't know where you're going.
Right.
If you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going. And people who do not have a strong sense of self because they don't understand who they are, they don't understand what it took to get where we are now, are easily controlled because they don't have really the foundation to have pride and respect for what was done and accomplished by their ancestors. And that is very much related to the whole topic of hair and how hair culture has been very much eradicated and disallowed and prohibited and forbidden in a lot of cultures that we've interacted with. This is more of that same kind of thing, because if you know that we made the same mistake, if we made a mistake in 1995, that's not too long ago. And we're doing the same thing again now.
Yeah.
But we don't know that we made this mistake before because we weren't taught it. Just like how the Germans learn Everybody learns about World War II. Everybody. That's mandatory. That happened 100 years ago, almost now. But you're still hearing about it. Why? Because we don't want to go there again. I say we, well, you know. That's why it's called World War, because I had a grand uncle that fought. Right. A great grand uncle that fought in the war. You know, that's how serious that was. And so we were all affected by that. But if you don't know where you came from, how can you as a people move on and uplift yourselves?
Miriam Makeba said,
this is systematic racism.
Right. And it's intentional somehow. Mm-hmm. Miriam Makeba said, the Holocaust, these are not my words. The Holocaust is the worst thing that happened on tape. Ours was not recorded. Those are not my words. Go search them yourselves. Miriam Makeba said that.
It wasn't recorded?
Ours. The slavery.
Slavery wasn't recorded?
No. Like recorded in a way that it wasn't put out there for people to know that it's one of the hardest thing one of the harshest thing that we had to endure as Black people. So there is this,
and you see that's a part of the problem right there.
Because Germany,
that's not true.
If I
slavery was heavily documented.
Really?
Yes.
So let's look at for example, Germany in a way. So Germany has this that Holocaust is everywhere. Mm-hmm. There's a way that they put it on a standard, like they children are taught that in school and so on. Mm-hmm. But they learn like few things about slavery. They learn a few things about what Leopold did to Congo. Killed over, I don't know, close to 20 million Congolese. You look at the country right now. He owned the country. It was his own personal property. He exploited it and killed everyone he could. There is nowhere to be. That is not. And I think all these atrocities that happened were things that she was trying to reference to. Ours were not recorded as much as they recorded the Holocaust.
My mind just went like a million different places. How did she find out that information?
Miriam Makeba? Mm-hmm. I don't know. You could it wasn't an interview or something. You could watch it as well and see.
Yeah.
You could tell me.
I'm definitely going to look that up. Because so I always take myself out of the equation when it comes to how the story is being told.
Right.
And who knows what. Right. Because my father was an archaeologist. I come from a long list of historians, so I don't expect people to know the level of stuff that I know, because it was sort of like our dinner time conversation. Right. What I found with people of other Black African descent who are my friends, whom I've met throughout the world, is that we are extremely uneducated about ourselves. Extremely. Right. And this is not an indictment, okay? This is just, I don't know why it is, but I see internalized racism again, where we are our own worst enemy.
Okay.
I have met African Americans who don't own a passport until they've met me, and I'm like, you should come to Belize. Oh, I have to get a passport. It's so far. What does a ticket cost? It costs, from where you live, it costs $200 US. Like as an example, right? California to Belize, those days. What? That's all? Yeah. Just go get your passport. Back then, what did a passport cost? $5? I don't know. It wasn't that big a deal. We don't travel. And those of us who do travel think that the rest of us travel. And Africans are very, right? Am I lying?
Shots of fire.
I mean, you see, you did this to me, Livingston. I'm never going to show my face again in the world. But that's part of the problem. Just because my family traveled and we went places, my parents were criticized to no end because we were trying to be white. There are certain places and spaces our people don't go, and we say it's because we're not allowed or we're not accepted. And yes, I can count, if I had a dime for every single time I walked into a space where there are not that many Black people, and the music stopped and all the white people look at me, I'd be rich. But everybody is curious and happy and wants to, know where I'm from and why I'm here and how I ended up in Germany. And I take up space. For the most part, Germans have allowed me to take up space. And it has been that case everywhere I've went. But you know what else I hear? Even from my own children sometimes, our eldest daughter, she'll say, Italian is racist towards Black people. And I
don't think it is.
I haven't been recently, but actually we went last February. My husband and I went, I think it was either to Italy or to Spain. I went with my husband. I had no problems.
So you not having problems, you think it's not racist?
No, I am not saying that. I'm saying I think sometimes our experience is self-projecting. It's we are looking for it, therefore it's coming toward us. There's a word for it. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't find it. But either way, you're right. If you think it's going to be bad, you're right. If you think it's going to be good, you're right. And of course, you can't control people's experience of you, but you can control your reaction.
Right.
And it's been my experience that we just stop. We don't even try because we are so afraid of this narrative of being Black is bad. And no one can change that but us.
Nehanda, I
literally just kissed the microphone just now.
I wanted to come back to, because I want us to come back to the mixed race kid thing. But before that, you think if I go into racism with positivity, then I might come out with a different image of it? I
think you're going to have to give me a little bit more than racism.
So, for example, if you mentioned Italy, you were in Italy and you found it different. But for example, some people would say Italy is racist and so on. So, in that way, if I want us to take that and project it on racism. So if I was to go to any country that was racist, but I go in with the setting that I'm not going to receive racism, would I be protected?
Yes and
because
no.
I'm choosing to ignore it.
Yes, because you have the power to decide how you're going to react. All right. And that comes with practice and it comes with exposure. Most people, and this is not just my experience. Like I had a cousin who came here. He is half Ghanaian and half Garifuna. So is my aunt's son. He visited us and I was horrified because I was still in my, it's Germany. There are lots of racists here. Germans are no racist than any other place that I've been. And that's not good or bad. That's just not everybody likes everybody. And that's okay. And we as a people have been so beat down. I'm not trying to victimize the victim. I need people to understand, yes, racism exists. Yes, people are mentally ill with these. You had a girl on here who said that, like racism is a mental illness. This does exist. I'm not trying to gaslight you into thinking it doesn't exist. It does exist. But you also exist to enjoy your life. And you can decide, you know what?
You know they're gonna come for you.
I know they're gonna come for me. Let it. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
You can just decide right now. Yeah. The next time somebody is away towards me, I have a choice.
Right.
I really have a choice. That is the most liberating experience anyone can have, is knowing that you don't have to do anything but die and pay taxes, especially if you're in Germany. Like, that's a given. You got to pay taxes. You might, it is what it is. Not everybody's going to like you, and you have to be okay with that. And we're not okay with that. We want everybody to like us because we've been so disliked, and we've been told this narrative so much about slavery, about racism, about the lynching and the this and the that. And it is all true, but it is not true right now.
Okay.
Am I shouting?
No, not at all. I'm thinking, I'm processing all this because it's in a way also new to me as well. So I'm processing it. I'm trying to find where to put it in my brain as well, So, yeah, amazing. But I want to bring you back to the mixed race thing as we are rounding up this.
Okay.
What were you not prepared for as a mom of mixed race kids?
That's a good question. I would definitely say the first thing, I'm going to go with my gut and my heart now. what I was not prepared for, and this might sound racist, I was not prepared for my children's white moments. Because
what do you mean with that? Could you elaborate more?
I'm sure those of us who have double heritage children can understand. There were times where I wanted my culture to be the dominant culture. And I could only anecdotally explain it to the moment when we watched Pippi Longstockings. And they didn't say Pippi Longstockings. They said Pippi Longstrumpfhose or whatever it is they call it in German. And then I found out that it was actually a German film and my mind was blown. And I come home and my husband is watching it with the girls and it's all in German and they're singing the song in German. And I'm just like, I'm an outsider in my own house. Like my children, because when you're, everybody's black, right? Everybody who's mixed is black. That's my interpretation. But they are not. They're both. And I was not prepared for that this is their home. Their experience is a German one because they lived here. They have German friends and understand how the system works. And they are identifying with this white man and they call him dad. Like when we fell in love and we got married and, oh yes, it's nice, it's cool, it's liberal. But then you realize that it is what it is. These kids are German. They're black, but they're also German. I wasn't prepared for that. It didn't really exist in my head until it existed in real life. And it blew my mind.
Yeah.